we're talking about Steph Curry here. Like, you got to get it done. At some point, we can't just keep talking about them trying to go fishing and they throwing the bait out in the water. Like, Steph is not just sitting around saying, I want to play for fun. This man played at an all-NBA level last season. Like, everyone is making powerful moves while Mike Dunleavy is just sitting there on his hands. The pressure is on him to do right by Steph.
Steph Curry has won 4 championships. He invented a position. He changed the way basketball is played at every level on earth. He is the greatest shooter who has ever lived, and right now, he is trapped. The Golden State Warriors went 37-45 last season. They missed out on LeBron James. They missed on Giannis. They missed on Jaylen Brown. They missed on Anthony Davis. Jimmy Butler tore his ACL late in the regular season and might miss most of next year. And Curry, who averaged 26.6 points a game at 38 years old playing through a knee injury, watched all of it happen while the rest of the Western Conference rebuilt into something scarier every single week. He becomes eligible to sign a contract extension in less than 30 days. He has not signed it. And across the league, the San Antonio Spurs, who just went to the NBA Finals, who have the most talented young big man on the planet, who finished 62-20 and are co-favorites to win the championship next season, are sitting there quietly doing the math. Because here's what nobody is saying out loud yet, but everybody is thinking. If Steph Curry leaves Golden State, and for the first time in his career, that is a real conversation. The one destination that makes him an instant title favorite, the one pairing that breaks the Western Conference in half, is Curry next to Victor Wembanyama in San Antonio. So let's talk about why this is happening, what it would actually look like, and whether the Spurs should go get him. To understand why Curry's name is even being mentioned in trade conversations, you have to understand how bad things have gotten for the Golden State Warriors. Not bad as in lost a few games bad. Bad as in a franchise in quiet freefall, with no real answer for how to fix it before their best player is gone. Last season, Curry played 43 games. A knee injury wiped out almost half his year. He still averaged 26.6 points on 39.3% from 3, which tells you everything you need to know about where he is as a player. Even at 38 years old, even playing through a knee injury, even without anyone next to him worth talking about, Steph Curry is Steph Curry. The problem is that a team needs more than one great player, and the Warriors have made that abundantly clear for several years now. Golden State finished 37-45. They scraped into the play-in and got bounced by Phoenix. Jimmy Butler, the guy they brought in to be Curry's running mate, tore his ACL late in the regular season. Moses Moody hurt his knee too, and the Warriors went into this offseason with a simple mission: find somebody to go next to Curry for what might be his final run. They went after LeBron James. LeBron chose Philadelphia. They tried for Giannis. That didn't work. They looked at Jaylen Brown. Also a no. Anthony Davis was never coming. And so, as of this week, the most significant addition the Golden State Warriors have made this offseason is a rookie. That is not what Steph Curry signed up for. And here's where it gets really interesting. Curry becomes eligible to sign a 2-year extension on August 29th, an extension worth around $136 million. He has not signed it. According to reports, he's reportedly considering waiting, not because he wants to leave, but because holding off gives him leverage. It sends a message. It says, I need you to actually do something. And for a franchise that spent this entire summer swinging and missing, that message has very real consequences. Bay Area reporter Tim Kawakami dropped a detail that should have made Warriors fans lose sleep. Owner Joe Lacob's priority, according to Kawakami, is building for what comes after Steph Curry, not around him. That one sentence set off a firestorm, and it raises a question nobody in Golden State wants to answer directly. If the franchise is already thinking past Curry, why would Curry stay? Now flip it. The San Antonio Spurs just had the best regular season in franchise history since the dynasty years. 62 wins, Western Conference Finals on the road in Game 7, their first finals appearance in 12 years. And they lost in 5 games. That matters because losing in the finals is one kind of pain, and it's the kind that changes how a franchise operates. The Spurs spent this offseason adding Tobias Harris for spacing, drafting interior depth in Jaden Quaintans and Terrace Reed, and hiring Billy Donovan as lead assistant. All smart moves. All moves consistent with who this team is. But none of them turned the Spurs from a finals team into a championship team overnight. And the backcourt? That's the honest conversation happening right now in San Antonio. De'Aaron Fox was real this season, 18.6 points a game, second on the team behind Wemby. He ran the offense, created for teammates, and helped build the culture of a team that believed it could win. The Spurs wouldn't have made the finals without him, but he also went into the finals with a high ankle sprain he picked up against OKC, and he was never right after that. 12.8 points a game in the finals on 34% shooting. And then that moment in Game 4 that nobody in San Antonio is going to forget for a long time. Here's the thing, though. The bigger question isn't whether Fox cost the Spurs the finals. The bigger question is whether the Spurs' backcourt, as currently constructed, has a ceiling that stops them short of a title. Because Dylan Harper was already 12 points and 46% from the field as a 20-year-old in the NBA Finals. Stephon Castle is getting better every single month. Both of those guys, long-term, are backcourt of the future players, and De'Aaron Fox, starting next season, is going to cost $51 million. Brian Wright and the Spurs front office have publicly committed to Fox, and that's probably the right thing to say publicly because it protects his trade value and buys time to figure out what the next move actually looks like. But there's a roster construction problem here that isn't going away. You can't have 4 backcourt players who all need the ball, and at some point, the Spurs are going to have to make a choice about which direction they go. What if the choice was Steph Curry? Let's be straight about something. There are no confirmed trade talks, no sham scoop, no insider report from Brian Windhorst. What there is a conversation that the entire basketball world is having at once. And when 30% of all NBA trade proposals in a 24-hour window on any given day are sending Curry to San Antonio, that's not random noise. That's the basketball world doing the math. And the math is genuinely wild. Victor Wembanyama, at 22 years old, is 25 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 3.1 blocks a game. He is the Defensive Player of the Year. He just signed a max extension, so he's here. He is the most talented player to enter the NBA in a generation, and we are watching in real time what it looks like when a generation-defining talent reaches his ceiling. Steph Curry, at 38, is the greatest shooter in basketball history. 4,248 made three-pointers, the all-time record by a distance that won't be touched for years. His game doesn't require athleticism. It doesn't require drives to the rim or getting physical inside. His game is about gravity, spacing, reading pick-and-roll coverage, and putting the ball in the basket from places other players don't even attempt. None of that diminishes significantly with age. You put those two on the floor together and think about what you're asking defenses to do. Drop under the screen for Curry and he buries the three. Hedge hard on Curry and Wembanyama rolls to a completely open basket. Double team Wemby in the post and Curry is standing at the corner looking directly at the ball. There is no answer. Pick your poison doesn't even cover it. With this pairing, every possession is the poison. The Spurs already ranked among the betting co-favorites to win the championship next season, tied with Oklahoma City. Add the greatest shooter of all time, and they don't just move up the board, they own the board. Curry's contract is $62.6 million next season, and then he becomes an unrestricted free agent. That's 1 year. For 1 year of Steph Curry next to Victor Wembanyama, with Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper coming off the bench or starting alongside them, with Tobias Harris spreading the floor, with the best defensive anchor in the game protecting the paint. For 1 year of that, what would you give? Bill Simmons pitched Fox plus 4 first-round picks. Other proposals have Fox, Carter Bryant, the 2027 Hawks pick, the 2028 Boston pick, and the 2028 Spurs pick going back to Golden State. That is a franchise-altering amount of draft capital. The Warriors get a young all-star point guard in Fox who's under contract for 4 more seasons, plus picks to rebuild. It's not a bad deal for them either. But here's what makes this specific trade conversation different from most offseason noise. Usually, when people talk about teams trading for aging superstars, the acquiring team is making a desperation move. That is not what this is. The Spurs aren't desperate. They just went to the NBA Finals. They have arguably the most talented 22-year-old on the planet on a long-term deal. They're not trying to save a sinking ship. They're trying to add the engine that gets a good ship to a championship. That's a very different kind of calculation. Here's where I'm going to pump the brakes a little, because I think the enthusiasm around this trade has gotten ahead of the reality in a few ways, and you deserve the straight version. First, Curry is 38 years old and just played 43 games last season. His knee is a real concern. The ability to shoot does age well, but staying on the floor does not. If you're trading Fox and a collection of first-round picks for 1 year of Steph Curry, you are betting that he stays healthy enough to make that year count. Given his recent history, that is not a certainty. Second, the financial reality. Absorbing $62.6 million for Curry while Fox's extension starts at $51 million is almost impossible without using Fox as the primary salary matching piece. Any deal requires Fox to go back. And as much as the finals raised questions about Fox, trading away a 28-year-old two-time All-Star who just helped you reach the finals and replacing him with a 38-year-old on a one-year deal is a bet that only pays off if you win the championship. If Curry gets hurt, if it doesn't click, if the Knicks are still a better team, you don't get that trade back. Third, there's a philosophical argument that the Spurs are exactly the kind of organization that doesn't need to do this. They made the finals with their young core intact. Castle and Harper are both ascending. The gap between San Antonio and a championship is real, but it might be smaller than 1 year of Curry would solve. Wembanyama is 22. He will be here for a decade. The question of whether you rush that timeline for a single shot is legitimately a hard one. The counter-argument, and it's a strong one, is that championships don't wait. The Knicks proved that by winning before anyone expected them to. The window that looks open for the Spurs today doesn't guarantee it stays open. Castle and Harper are young, and young means inconsistent. Wembanyama needs the right system around him, and a veteran floor general running the offense would accelerate everything he does. Step back from the specifics and look at what's actually happening. This is a conversation about two completely different ends of the basketball timeline, one at the final miles of a legendary career, one at the very beginning of what looks like another one, being in a position where they could help each other. Curry has never played for another franchise. He has said, consistently, that he wants to retire a Warrior. And the serious reporting, Shams Charania, ESPN, still points to mutual interest in an extension and Curry finishing his career in Golden State. He is not demanding a trade, he is not publicly unhappy, but he is also not signing an extension in an offseason where the Warriors have stood completely still while every contender in the Western Conference got better. That silence is doing something. It's creating space for conversations that wouldn't exist otherwise. And when you have the greatest shooter in NBA history on the final year of his contract, sitting on a team that finished 37-45, staring across the league at a young superstar who just proved he can carry a team to the finals, you're going to hear things. The San Antonio Spurs just showed the entire NBA they are for real. They are not waiting. They are not developing. They are competing. And the way they responded to that finals loss, the Tobias Harris signing, the Billy Donovan hire, the draft moves, tells you everything about the mindset in that building. They are not satisfied being the team that made it to the finals and lost. They want to be the team that wins it. Steph Curry, if available, is the piece that does that. The pick-and-roll partnership with Wembanyama would be one of the most dangerous offensive weapons in NBA history. The spacing Curry creates would open lanes for Castle and Harper in ways that Fox, with all his ability, cannot replicate. And Curry, who has won 4 championships, who has changed how basketball is played globally, who knows exactly what it takes to win at the highest level, is exactly the kind of veteran presence a team full of 22-year-olds needs in May and June. Is it a sure thing? No. Is it expensive? Massively. Is it the kind of swing that separates the teams who almost win from the teams who do? Yeah, it might be. So here's where we are. The Spurs are a finals-caliber team that knows it isn't quite a championship-caliber team yet. The Warriors have the greatest shooter who ever lived, and nothing around him worth celebrating. And somewhere in between, there is a deal that makes both situations better. Whether it actually happens depends on things nobody outside those two organizations can see right now. Curry's mindset, the Warriors' willingness to move him, how aggressive San Antonio is willing to get. But the fact that we're even having this conversation, the fact that 30-some% of the basketball internet is sending Curry to San Antonio, that's not coincidence. That's the league recognizing what's possible. And for the Spurs, the question isn't whether it would be worth it. They already know the answer to that. The question is whether they're willing to go get it. That's the state of San Antonio right now, a team in the most dangerous position in basketball, good enough to know exactly what they're missing and rich enough in talent to potentially go get it. Drop your take in the comments. Would you make this trade if you're the Spurs? And if Curry does end up leaving Golden State, where do you think he actually goes? Hit the like button if you want more on this story, and subscribe, because if something actually happens here, you're going to want to be the first to know.